Hey you guys, I'm Stacy and this is Gorgeously Aging. You can see by the way that my hair looks, I'm doing something fun with my hair. I'm trying some heatless curls. So my hair is naturally kind of wavy and frizzy. So we'll see how this works out. Every example that I see of this is with somebody already with their hair really nicely blown out and then they put it in dry, mist it, and sleep on it. I let my hair dry about 75%. We'll see once it's fully dry how it looks when I don't blow it out first. I was trying to make things easy. So the results for this is going to be in a separate video, so watch for my heatless curls video. But today I'm going to be putting in some Lilac Street lashes, the Hollywoods, and then doing a full face of makeup. So I wanted to show you some really nice things that I picked up lately. I'm really excited to show you the KVD. This is the Good Apple Serum Foundation or Balm Foundation. I'm excited to show this to you because it gives a little bit of extra coverage without being drying or accentuating fine lines or enlarged pores. I'll show you a few tricks for making this foundation look really flawless on aging skin. But first, let me get some lashes on and I will be right back. So I'm super excited to share with you guys the Good Apple by KVD. This is the Skin Perfecting Foundation Balm. This is said to be a little bit more coverage than the L'Oreal Balm. I've recently tested that one, so if you haven't seen that video, you can check it out. So they're supposed to be similar, but this is supposed to have a bit more coverage. So I'm going to go in with a foundation brush and just dab it into the here. I've already done all my skin prep. It does have a lot of coverage. So I'm gonna probably have to shear this out a bit. If you like a medium to full coverage, you may really like the coverage this provides. Definitely more coverage than the L'Oreal balm that I just tested. I really like that one because the skin looked like skin. It did not look like you had makeup on. So some people are saying that this is that's a dupe for this. I would say the L'Oreal has lighter coverage for sure, but this feels pretty nice. It's not as hydrating or balmy as the L'Oreal, but dang, it does give a nice coverage. Now this isn't the perfect shade for me, but it will work once we get everything else going. I'm just gonna go through with a paw blender. I love these blenders, you guys. I will link everything below. These are super cheap and super soft even when they're not dampened down. So my lash mapping with those Hollywood Lilac Street mapping is 14, 14, 12, 12, 10, 14, 14, 12, 12, 10. And that, for those of you who are new, refers to the length. So if you order from Lilac Street to get lashes, they're so affordable for DIY at home lash extensions. They last me about 5 days. Some people can go 7 days to almost 2 weeks, but my natural lashes are very, very short. So you pick out the length you want. You can certainly do all one length. I like to have longer lengths on the outside and taper them to shorter lengths on the inside. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of this Shape Tape. This is the Ultra Creamy, and I like the idea of this for mature skin. I have the original Shape Tape, which is very good coverage, but I found it to be a little bit drying on aging under eyes and getting a little like crepey or cracky as the day progressed. So I don't use it that often. I do like it if you have to spot conceal, but I'm not a big, huge fan of the original Shape Tape for right underneath the eyes. And you don't need much. So I'm going to go in with this concealer blending brush. This is by Sonia Kashuk. This brush set comes from Target. It's one I picked up a few weeks back and I've really been enjoying it. I've always been a big fan of Sonia Kashuk brushes. And you can certainly use your fingers to tap it in. Sometimes the warmth of your fingers is really nice for blending out concealer. And also, of course, a sponge works really well. And in fact, a sponge is nice if you go a little heavy-handed with your concealer to just kind of blend it out, but also pick up any excess. That's where you get creases underneath your eyes, is when you have too much product. So always err on the side of less foundation and concealer under the eyes. And it really does give a nice brightness. I'll list all the shades in the description box below that I have here in case you are similar to my shade, or just to give you a reference of what shade I'm using. Yeah, that really smooths out and brightens the under eyes. So I'm gonna put just a little bit here, down the center of my nose, on my chin and right through here and here, just to brighten those areas and give a little bit more coverage. You can use a brush. I like to just use either my fingers or a sponge more often than not. And that just starts the contouring process, giving us some brightness to those areas of the face that do benefit from a little extra brightness. All right, now I'm gonna go in with, this is the Wet n Wild contour stick. So I'm gonna go in with the dark end. It also has a highlight end. And we're gonna do a little contouring. Now this is a great creamy formula, but what I dislike about this formula is a little gold. I like a contour to be kind of neutral or slightly cool in tone so it looks like a true shadow. But this is a great price point and it blends out really well. This is really more the tone of bronzer, but it's still a really nice product and it's so good in terms of price. So you could use your sponge. I'm going to use my buffing brush and just kind of pounce that into the skin just with a little stippling. Try not to move it around too much. I have to say this KVD Good Apple Balm is a little more coverage than I've been going for lately, but I do like it. I think it's very pretty, and if you like a bit more coverage, this really is giving me kind of like porcelain skin vibes. Yeah, that's really pretty. I'm going to take this Sony Kashuk brush. You can see that it's a little bit flat, and I'm going to just take some of this onto this brush and do a bit of a nose contour. So right up from the top of the eyebrow, I'm just going to come down the side of my nose and kind of fan that downward. And then just at the tip of the nose, pick up a little bit more. And then again at the top of the brow there and coming down. This just kind of gives the nose just a thinner, just more structured appearance. Fanning that downward a bit. And then I like to take my sponge and just pat that out. You can also, because this has some of your foundation on it, go in a little bit with your brush that you had your foundation on. I like to clean off my lips so I don't look so dead. And also clean off my eyebrows, and you don't have to do it with your own saliva like I just did. That's been my go-to since forever. You could certainly run it under the sink and squeeze out the excess so it's not dripping down your face, or spray a little setting spray onto your Q-tip. Now I'm going to check my under eyes real quick just to see if they're cracking or creasing. Now I'm going to try to avoid setting powder if I can today. I might need to use it very sparingly in a few places, but sometimes excess setting powder can make the makeup look like it's too heavy or cakey, or accentuate the things we don't want accentuated, like enlarged pores and crepiness of the skin. So we're going to see how this sets down and then go from there. So I'm going to move on to the eyebrows. I do have some faded microblading that I will be touching up soon, and I'll be sharing that with you guys if you're interested in learning more about microblading. But for now, I'm going to be using the Benefit Brow Zings Pro Palette. This does come with a couple of useful brushes, but I'm going to use a full-size angled brush. And I'm going to go into the waxy stuff first and just go over my brows with that. Sometimes I like to use a brow pencil, and sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I just like to do more of a like a shaded brow or a powder brow. There's a lot of ways you can use this wax. You can put it on first and then dip into the powder color of your choice. Or you can, there's a clear wax, a darker brown wax, and then a taupey wax, and then there's the powder pigments over here. I'm gonna go into this third one down. You can also dip it into the wax and then immediately into the powder and go to the brow. I kind of prefer the way it looks when I do it this way. So I'm going to do the outer 2/3 of the brow and just giving it a powder fill here. This is probably the easiest way to fill your brows if you need a little soft shading. And then just a tiny bit with a light hand in the front. And I'm going to go back in with a little bit of pigmented brow gel and just give those actual little baby hairs a little bit of plumping and pigmentation. I'm going to use the NYX Thick It, Stick It. This is a fiber gel, and this is in the color Espresso. Even though I don't have much for natural brow hairs, this really picks up what I do have and gives it just a more natural look. So if you've been filling your brows with a soft fill or a powder fill, try adding a little bit of a brow gel to your natural brows. It'll just make it look that much more natural. With a light hand here, and see the difference there? Now don't be afraid if your brows are a little darker than your natural hair. My natural hair color is a dark brown. I've been wearing it blonde for years. But if you scroll through magazines or Pinterest or just the internet in general and look for beautiful brow pictures, you'll notice oftentimes that the brows are a little bit darker than the hair color. I like my brows to be like a darker brown or espresso in a soft way. I don't like them to get too hard or too harsh, but I do think having a little bit darker brow than your hair color is very striking. All right, you guys, for the eyeshadow today, I'm going to use the Essence. This is the Bronze This Way palette. This is a 6-pan palette, and let me just tell you, this is $3.99. I picked up a whole bunch of them because they are so reasonable. There are so many. I'm really looking forward to day using this nudes palette. Still has the plastic in it, but this color story really speaks to me. So today we're going to use the Bronze This Way. You guys, the formula is super creamy and soft. I'm really surprised for how cheap it is. The quality of this color palette, of this eyeshadow palette. I'm going to start out with a fluffy brush and just go into this bone color. I'm not going to prime my eyelids today. I've been going back and forth on it. I do like my eyeshadow better when I prime my eyelids, but we're going to go ahead without. And this bone color just acts as a base in a transition shade, and it just makes it so the rest of the colors buff together and blend more seamlessly. Now I'm going to go in with this color and just with a light bit on my brush, go right above my natural crease and just go back and forth, starting to create a little bit of contour on the eyelid. I'm going to pull this back away from my tail of my brow. And this again is part of this brush is part of the Sonia Kashuk brush. This is an ideal taper, a big fluffy taper brush for just getting a wash of color down there. Then I'm going to move to a smaller taper brush. This again is Sonia Kashuk. I'll list all this in the description box below. I'm going to go into the same color. This time we're going to build up a little more intensity. We're going to dab it right into the corner, right up here. Not down low in the corner, but just right up kind of where the end of that crease is. Stamp that into there, and then one down here. We're just going to build the color intensity up just on the outer corner. And do the same thing on the other side. Can always move back to that first brush and just give it a little tiny soft buff. Now I'm going to go into this really beautiful, like coppery color. Look at how pretty that is. And I'm going to take a flat brush. You can use your finger, but I have kind of big fingers, so I think a flat brush works out best. I'm going to give it a little mist of setting spray and just go into that beautiful color. Now, if you have a lot of crepiness on your lids, stick with mattes, or if you love shimmers, use shimmers anyway, but it does accentuate the creasing and crepiness. So I'm going to keep this color kind of to the outer part, or the outer half, so about 50% of that movable lid. See how pretty that is? And we'll do the same on the other side. And then I'm going to mix these two colors, this bone color with this color we used on the outer corner. Just going to go back and forth here. Bring that to the inside. And just blend it out. I'm going to take this small brush again from Sonia Kashuk, and I'm going to go into this color, and I'm going to go into the lower lash line with the majority of the pigment being on the outer corner, and then just gently bring it in a little bit and up to tie it all together. So we're going to keep most of the concentration of that pigment on the outer corner and then drag it over just a little bit. And then I'm going to take my big fluffy brush again. Dogs are going crazy upstairs. And I'm just going to make sure it's all blended. I'm telling you guys, for $3.99, these are a really great value. I'll list all of these in the description box below. A big thank you for those of you who take the time to go down and look at the description and click on my links. That's how I make a little bit of commission here for my channel, and it means so much to me. All right, one of my all-time favorite eyeliners is the Stila Stay All Day. These really do stay well, and they are just such a beautiful tip. This is the color dark brown, and they are very precise, waterproof, stay on nicely, don't smudge. So let me just show you here. I like to use brown, but I did get a black. I actually just picked this up at Ulta this past week, and I have been using more brown than black, but I do occasionally use black. All right, you guys, I'm gonna try to hit my tiny little bottom lashes with a little bit of the Thrive mascara. I'm gonna take this little powder puff, which I like for holding the skin back, but also for making sure you don't have excess concealer under the eyes. This concealer seems to be setting down pretty well without the need for powder. But if your skin's a bit oilier, you may need to powder it just a slight bit. But the key on aging eyes is very minimal powder. Now I'm going to go back to the complexion just a little bit. This is the Milani Cheek Kiss. It is a cream blush and the color is Nude Kiss. I'm going to just take the complexion brush we used earlier. This is such a pretty color. Just gives just the right amount of flush without picking up texture on the skin, and that's what's so nice about cream products on aging skin or skin with large pores, is it doesn't have that effect of really emphasizing the pores. I'm going to use the e.l.f. bronzer and just take a nice fluffy brush and just use that just sparingly to set down the product that we have there. And that's part of the reason I don't completely powder the whole face, because then when I go back with other powder products, it's just putting product on product on product. I do like to take some along my jawline, under the chin, especially if you have a double chin, that helps a lot. Before I move on to highlight, I want to take a little bit of this Rimmel Scandal Eyes Nude Pencil, and I love this in the waterline just a little bit, and it brightens up the eyes. Sometimes when you first use a nude pencil in the waterline, it can look a bit intense, but once you blink a few times and it wears in a little bit, it looks much softer. I'm going to use the Tarte Shape Tape, and this is the Glow Wand. This is so pretty. It's not like overly glowy. It really gives a pretty glow. I'm going to put a little on my nose and on my Cupid's bow before I get my lips done. I'm going to clean my lips one last time. I'm going to use this Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Lip Cheat in the color Super Size Me. This is such a beautiful lip liner and stays on so well. I love all of Charlotte Tilbury lip products, but the liners are really something special. Now, a little less expensive, I'm going to use this Morphe lip product. This is a lip gloss in the color Boho. All right, you guys, I'm going to finish this off with the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Setting Spray to meld everything together and refresh the skin. I like to be pretty liberal with this product. It does have hyaluronic acid. And then as a final step, I'm just going to take a look and see where maybe the product, I have too much makeup or it needs to just be kind of blended a bit better. Now in real time, this goes by pretty quickly. It doesn't take quite as long. When you get the hang of your makeup routine, it goes really quick. You know, looking at this, I feel like I want a little bit of an underbrow highlight. So I'm going to go back in with my Shape Tape. This is the Ultra Creamy. I'm just going to take a small brush. A flat brush is great for this, and make sure you don't have too much product on your brush. And I'm just going to carve out the brow just a little bit. I wouldn't always do this, but Adam and I are going to go out tonight. Nothing special. We're going to actually go take a long walk, but then we're going to grab a drink somewhere. Nothing like taking a nice, long, healthy walk and then going to get a cocktail. And I'm just going to take my finger and press that in. You can also clean up the edge here. All right, what do you guys think of this look? I would take these out so that you can see what it looks like, but I probably have another hour, hour and a half or so to dry before it's fully dry. One important note about this, whether you're putting curlers in your hair and letting it air dry, or these heatless, this headband type heatless waves, it has to be completely dry. If there's any moisture left in the hair, it will just, the curls will just fall out. So make sure it is 100% dry. So I will be back in a video to show you how this works. And I have a feeling I may have to do it again where I actually like blow out my hair to get kind of my crinkly wave out first, but hey, maybe it'll work. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I also have Gorgeously Aging Advanced if you're interested in advanced facial rejuvenation. As always, I love and appreciate you all. Thank you so much for sharing a part of your day with me. I will see you guys in the next video.